G'day everyone, welcome to another hero slash weapon review video. It's the second one for July, which is a little bit different. Usually there's only one. The other one was reviewing all of the new summer heroes that just came to the game. So I've chucked a link to that one in the description of this vid, so feel free to check it out. But I'm not going to look at that too much. In this one though, we're going to be looking at the hero of the month, Blockbuster, and also the weapon of the month, which is the Toreador Easy gun. So you can see there Blockbuster and the weapon of the month as well. With these, if you're not familiar with them, the hero and weapon of the month are not heroes that you get in a regular summon. They are bonus draws, which essentially every summon that you do in the available portals for that item. So for the hero of the month, you can do it in any of the event portals or the elemental summon, the seasonal summon, or whatever. For the weapon of the month, they're available as a bonus draw on the epic weapons summon, and then also the master weapons quest as well. So it is a bonus draw. Every single summon that you do in those portals has the chance to draw that weapon, but the odds are pretty low. You can see in the portals, it's listed as 1.3%. as a bonus draw for the legendary hero of the month, and it's the same thing for the weapon of the month as a bonus draw. So putting that into perspective, if you're going to do just 10 summons on any of the portals, you've got a cumulative chance of getting the hero or weapon of the month, depending which one you're in, of just 12.27%. So, you know, odds aren't in your favor there. If you go up to doing 50 summons in the month, you've got a 48% chance. So you're still not even more likely than less likely to be getting the bonus draw. If you go up to 100 summons, 72% or almost 73%. If you get to 500 summons that you're doing, so this is a lot of summons at this stage, this is 50 10x's. So at that stage, you're looking at a 99.86% chance of getting it in terms of cumulative odds. So, but even that, none of that is necessarily saying that you will get them. As with everything which is RNG based, it's all still chance based. So there is the chance that you could do 1,000,000 summons and still not get the bonus draw. So yeah, just to put it all into perspective. But anyway, we'll dive into the hero and the weapon. So we'll start off with Blockbuster. So Blockbuster is a 5-star red hero with the class of Demolitions. So if you're unfamiliar with the Demolitions class, I'll just grab another hero and show it to you. Where is one? I should have done this. There we go. So the talent there, so it's got a chance to remove the buffs from the target. Any buffs that are removed deals damage to the targeted hero. And then as the more buffs you remove, the more damage it does. So the Demolitions class is quite powerful. It's pretty awesome. It's definitely a good one. So Blockbuster stats, he's got 657 attack, 626 defense, and 1459 HP. So putting that into the ranking with all the other heroes, or red heroes anyway, that's a relatively low attack stack. It's fairly middle of the rank defense and quite a high HP stat. So it's actually the second highest red HP at this stage in the game. So overall, he is skewed more towards the defense side of things, so defense and HP, which is a little bit at odds when you compare it to his special skill, which is quite damage oriented. But yeah, his charge speed, it's 39, which is slow. This is the 12 tiles to charge slow. In order to get up to 11 tiles, you need to give him +4 speed, which is quite easy to do with the available speed guns in red. You can grab it with just the 4-star gun and you don't even have to max it out. So quite easy to charge break him up to 11 tiles. So there is that. In terms of his special skill, so it's titled Pulverizing Smash. It deals 325% damage to the target with minor damage to nearbys. So minor damage, if you're not familiar with it, it is 50% of the listed percentage. So for 325%, that's 1.63 or 163, percent that it's dealing to the two on either side of the target. The target then receives minus 28% charge generation for 3 turns, and then the target also gets a minus 15% defense until the end of the battle. This effect cannot be cleared, This effect can also stack up to 60%, which is pretty insane. So there's a couple things going on in there. So we'll just break it down section by section. So in terms of the damage, 325%, that's of the 657 attack stat. So that's pretty okay. It's fairly middle class. So if you multiply the 325% by his attack stat, you end up with a 2,135 attacking power. The downside is, you've got a fair number of red snipers available in the game that are 5-star heroes. And unfortunately, Blockbuster ranks fairly low amongst those options. So, the number of them, you've got Ridge, who is 515% with very high attack stat of 706. He's kicking out 3636 attack power, and that's at average speed as well. So he's faster and got more attacking power. You've got Delmar, who's 1963. He's also average speed. If he's hitting a fully charged enemy hero, he goes up to 3,487. You can read the rest of the list there, but overall at 2,135, it puts him pretty well in the middle of those options. It's not great, it's not terrible, it's kind of middle fiddle kind of region, which is okay, but the downside is that he is at slow speed. So none of those other snipers in red are slow, they're all average at the minimum. Most of them are actually fast speed. So yeah, that does put Blockbuster behind the 8-ball. So, with slow charge speed, you'd want him to be quite damaging with his power, but it's just not there in terms of his damage output. So yeah, it is what it is. So there's that side of things. So overall, he's not a standout damage dealer, but he's not bad either. He's mainly limited by his speed overall there. In terms of the additional effects, so you've got a charge ailment, which is doing minus 28% charge generation for 3 turns. It is only to the target, it's not to the nearby, so he does a little bit of damage to the nearby, but he's only affecting the target, the one hero with the rest of these effects. Minus 28% is very good. It's actually quite annoying to have your charge speed cut out like that. It would be particularly powerful against war machines, for example, where the slower they charge their gain charge, the less likely they are to fire off their special skills, which are very damaging, and for the most part they're what kill you in the fights, because they all, I think, attack all of your heroes and hurt them all a lot. So that's quite powerful. His defense ailment is where it gets really interesting, this last line. So the things that are worth noting, number one, it's percentage-based defense ailment, which means that it will scale with the opponent's defense. So in the raid arena, this is not as powerful. So if you just look at that against some of the other heroes, so Marina is one that would look at a lot more detail later. Her defense buff, or debuff, sorry, is minus 144, which is about 20% of an average 5-star hero. So minus 15% of a 5-star hero isn't quite as good as that. It is also only to the target, but the biggest part about it, as I said, is it's percentage based, so it scales. So where this comes into effect is against things like war machines or event bosses, where they've actually got very high base stats. This is going to be scaling up the amount, or it's going to remain the constant percentage, which means that it's going to be much more powerful than some of the other ones, which are just static ones. The other thing to note is that it is non-time based. So there's not actually a timeout on it. If you look at most other defense ailments, or ailments of any kind, it says, does XYZ for X turns. Blockbuster is different here, where it says this effect lasts till the end of the battle, which is really great, because it means that if the fight goes on for 10 turns or 100 turns or whatever, and you fire him off at the start of it, it's going to last that entire time. It's not going to run out or anything like that. The other big thing is that it stacks with itself. So if you fire him once, it's 15%. If you fire him again and hit the same target, it goes to 30%. Do it again, and it's 45%. And then if you go up once more, or any more times after that, 4+ times, you're doing 60% defense ailment, which is the very best in the game. It's better even than the elemental debuff heroes like Rudolph and stuff, which are still only minus 54%. So minus 60% is a very strong debuff. The caveat is that it has to go multiple times in order to do it. So how good is he compared to some of the other heroes around? So we've looked at the damage. He's not really stand out in the damage side of things. The thing that does set him apart from most other heroes is that defense ailment. So in terms of that, I personally see him mainly being as very much a War Machine hero, and that defense ailment is where it kicks in a lot. So for comparison's sake, I'm going to look mainly at comparing him to Marina. We've compared him to some of the other damage-dealing sniping heroes in red already. So for that defense ailment, if we compare him to Marina, who's the 5-star red defense dropper, so Marina's effect is minus 144 defense for 3 turns. So against a maxed 5-star hero, minus 44 defense is on average about 20% debuff. Against War Machines, it's actually a lot harder to tell how much of a percentage that is, but as you go up to higher War Machines, the percentage debuff is going to drop off because the War Machine stats get higher and higher as their stars get larger and larger. Comparatively, Blockbuster, he has no end to it. So Marina lasts 3 turns, Blockbuster lasts until the end of the battle. At the same time, if you're looking then at the charge speeds of the 2 heroes, they're both slow charge. I think there's no real difference there in terms of the number of tiles to charge them. So when you look at that from the multiple times that you're going to fire these heroes, on the first charge against a War Machine or wherever, Marina will have probably a slight edge because she's going to have that higher debuff for those first 3 turns. However, on the 4th turn after that, Blockbuster is obviously better in that scenario because Marina's buff has ended and it's gone back to minus 0% defense debuff, whereas Blockbuster is still at that minus 15%. If you then continue charging and the fight goes on, and you fire Blockbuster again, his defense debuff is going to go up to minus 30%. Marina's, though, is going to come out at minus 20% again for the next 3 turns. If you then fire again and charge the heroes and fire them again, you're now looking at Blockbuster being minus 45% debuff, whereas Marina is still only at that minus 20% debuff or thereabouts. So you can see that after that 3rd turn of the fight, from there onwards, Blockbuster is going to be the better hero in terms of the defense element. So, if you're looking at your War Machine fights, you can conceivably fire them off a couple times in the fight, so 2 to 3 times, say. And as I said, after that first charge, for the first 3 turns after that, for the first 3 charges, the first 3 turns of the first charge, Marina's looking at being the better hero. But after that, Blockbuster's coming into his own in terms of the defense element. So overall, if we look at the aspects of the game, so you've got defense, attack, War Machines, that kind of thing. So Blockbuster, really not a defensive hero. His base defense stat, while it's middling and his HP stats are quite high, he's not going to do much in terms of assisting your defense team. His damage isn't great, so he's not going to be helping out there. The charge generation element, it's only affecting 1 hero, and the AI is really bad at choosing who that hits. So it's probably more likely to hit the hero that's going to have the least impact on the attack team versus the one that's going to have the most impact. So on the defense team side of things, probably not going to give you much there. On attack, he would form a pretty good 1-2 punch with another damage dealer, but from there, you're not getting the benefit of having that defense element for multiple turns. So you're not really going to be getting a good synergy or, carry-on effect from him in terms of the PvP side of things. You're also, if you just go back to that comparison with Marina, you're missing out on that synergy that Marina has where she's hitting all of the targets on the enemy team, so it doesn't then matter who your follow-up attacks hit. Whereas with Blockbuster, he's only affecting that 1 hero on the enemy team. In terms of the events and that kind of thing, he could conceivably be pretty okay with that defense element on the bosses, but again, you're looking at having to charge him 2 times or more in order to really get an effect out of him in the boss round. And, if you're competing in events, you're really wanting to get them done as quick as you possibly can, so you're not wanting to carry on multiple times in the boss round or anything like that. So from the event side of things, again, probably not going to be contributing much to the team there. We get to War Machines, which I think is his main purpose for the red side of things. You've got a never-ending defense ailment. So, you know, if you're, as I said with the Marina comparison, after that third turn, Blockbuster is going to have much more of an impact against the War Machine than Marina will, or some other defense element hero. You'll also see his defense buff it stays at 20, 15, 30, 45, 60%, whereas someone like Marina will gradually decrease as the War Machine stars goes up. As I said, in a War Machine fight, it's 90 seconds long. If you're playing the board right, or you've got a decent board or anything like that, you can conceivably fire off your hero special skills 2 to 3 times in that fight, which means you're going to be getting 30 to 45% debuff, which is a lot better than Marina's. So overall, what's my recommendation? I think he's probably a fairly niche hero where the War Machines is going to be his main purpose. He will work in other applications, particularly in offense stuff. I wouldn't recommend putting him onto your defense team. I don't think he's going to help there. So overall, I would probably suggest leveling him if your rating and your defense teams are pretty well set and you're looking at improving your War Machine scores. If you're not quite at that stage where you're looking to level heroes for fairly singular purposes, I'd probably say to put Blockbuster onto the back burner. So, yeah. So that finishes up Blockbuster. If there are other things that you think I haven't really considered or applications and synergies, definitely hit the comments section. Love to hear from you on that side of things. But we'll move straight on to the weapon of the month. So just going to do a quick one on this one because weapons are much more of a case of, unless you're doing a lot of summons for weapons, leveling whatever you've got is usually the best option. So if we look at the Toreador Easy, so it's a yellow 5-star gun. It is the same base model, just reskinned, of the 4-star Easy 9 Pro, the green gun there, which is the 4-star dodge one. So its stats, it's got 234 attack that it adds to your heroes and 206 defense. So this is very much skewed more towards that attack stat than the defense stat there. In fact, it's actually got the second highest attack stat of the yellow weapons. The only one which is higher is the Bronco Peacekeeper, the 5-star yellow Master Weapon quest gun that does health over time. But yeah, it's not much. This skewing of the attack stat I find is a little at odds if we then go and look at the perks that it adds. So the perks that it gives plus 20% resistance and plus 158 HP. So from that, you're looking at resistance and health. So this gun is primarily aimed at assisting, or it's more defensively oriented in terms of the perks, but the stat buff is much more attack oriented. So for me, I think the stats probably should have been reversed to make a little bit more sense, but that's all right. So in terms of these two effects, the HP plus 158 is actually very high. It's about an 11% increase on a 5-star yellow hero. If you compare it to some of the other guns around, the main one to compare it to is the Talon Tag, which is another 5-star yellow gun. It only gives about plus 6% HP comparatively. So, you know, plus 158 HP, it's pretty good compared to the other option in yellow. The resistance side of things, plus 20%, it's on the lower end of the options you can get for 5-star guns. In yellow alone, you've got the Roadblock, which has plus 33% resistance, which is, you know, a 65% improvement over what the Toreador Easy is offering. So 20% bonus resistance is fairly low on the scheme of things. So overall, my take on this gun, I think it's quite a poor weapon. The perk of HP that you're getting is kind of at odds with the stat distribution you're getting. And then in terms of the resistance, you're able to get better from it from just a vanilla gun. I also don't really rate HP bonus as a very good perk on a 5-star weapon. I think most of the other perks you can get are actually a lot better. So for me, I find that dodge, speed, crit, those are the best ones. Resistance is fairly up there, but HP I think is probably the worst perk you can get on a 5-star weapon. So overall, I'd probably rank this one as the worst or second worst available 5-star gun you can get at the moment. It's
very similar to the Roadblock in terms of its overall impact, which is why they're regarded as the worst gun available you can get in yellow. So I do apologize if this is the gun you get. You know, maybe if this is your only one, you can level it, but, you know, I'd probably advise to hold off leveling it, see if you get some other weapons before leveling this one up and ascending it. Alternatively, you know, you can just save your weapons summons for another month when there is a more desirable weapon of the month available. So yeah, sorry, the Toreador Easy I don't rate very highly at all as a 5-star yellow weapon. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and it's helpful and puts some of these heroes and weapons into a bit more perspective and breaks them down a little bit in a useful way. If you have different thoughts and different opinions, as I said, definitely hit me up in the comments section. If there's anything I've overlooked, if there's an application or some hero synergy or whatever that I've missed, I'd love to hear about it. As always, this stuff is just my personal opinion on these heroes and these weapons. It's not gospel. There is always the caveat that applies to these reviews, which is that, you know, a bird in the bag is worth two in the bush sort of thing. So whatever you've got is obviously better than the things you don't have. So there's no point necessarily waiting for something that may never come. But for me, that's my take on the hero and the weapon. So as always, if you liked the content, swing the video a little like there. And if you want to see more content and this sort of thing, definitely hit the subscribe button for my channel. And yeah, let me know if this is the kind of thing you like seeing. And I'll be doing more of it, I guess. But that's it for this video. Hope it was helpful. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers. Bye.